Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, May 8th. This is Liam McMahon. I'm a currency strategist here at GlobalFxClub.com. And I'm here today to do a quick video for you, sort of our chart of the day. We're going to be taking a look at Pound Aussie, which I think is a good pair to look at, not just from a technical standpoint, but also from a fundamental standpoint. We have the Bank of England announcement tomorrow. We had a surprise, somewhat surprising, RBA rate cut earlier in the week, and then later tonight we have key Aussie employment numbers and Chinese inflation, all of which will have a dramatic effect on Pound Aussie. So we're going to take a look at the daily chart of Pound Aussie and run through some of the technical setups that we have, to look at on that pair, both for bulls and bears. So please take a moment to pause the recording and read the risk disclaimer, which should now be on your screen, and then we will get started. Alright, so here we have the daily chart of Pound Aussie. You can see that we're sitting just below fairly significant trendline resistance. I'm going to count this as a touch. We fell just short, but it's close enough for me. Which means that we're coming up on a fourth touch here, right around 154. So 140 pips or so above market, which is really a sneeze for Pound Aussie. This pair can move very quickly when it wants to. We also have some interesting Fibonacci confluence areas that we're sitting at. If we take a look at this overall move here from the 161.83 highs down to the 143.79 lows, you can see we're sitting right at a 50% Fibonacci retracement right now. If we then take this particular level, the 158.78 highs, that second test of the trend line, use those same lows, you can see we're testing a 618% fib as well. So we do have some key Fibonacci confluence here at market ahead of the key data that we have coming out tonight and tomorrow morning. So I think this would be a very interesting area to start looking for Pound Aussie shorts. For those of you that are more conservative and don't want to fade this sort of uptrend, you would keep an eye here on this trend line, wait for a break of this trend line, or you can also find on smaller time frame charts some fairly clear, very steep trend lines to sort of look for possible short entries. For those who are more conservative or who want to get some of this risk, data risk out of the way, you can root for disappointing employment numbers and softer Chinese PMI tonight to drive the pair up towards this 154 trendline resistance. I think there's a distinct possibility that both of those numbers will be somewhat disappointing to the market. The RBA often tips its hand a little bit ahead of some key data. We've seen it in the past where they cut rates surprisingly, and then the next set of data were very disappointing because they have the information most likely before we do. So if the RBA was anticipating softer than expected employment, that's what led them to make their rate cut, we could see Pound Aussie rally tonight towards that 154 figure. Again, it's only 140 pips away, which is not a great distance for Pound Aussie. The other fundamental event that we have going on affecting this pair is the Bank of England decision on Thursday. I expect that decision to be somewhat pound bullish as well. I don't think that the Bank of England is going to increase their quantitative easing program, the asset purchase facility. I would not expect that to be increased, not after stronger than expected UK GDP and 3 stronger PMI prints earlier this month. I also expect, considering the change of leadership coming to the Bank of England, Mark Carney takes over this summer, I would be surprised to see them make any sort of dramatic moves here ahead of that change in leadership. So I would expect the pound to rally slightly on the news that there is no change, just taking out a few of the people who are betting on a surprise increase in the quantitative easing program, which also may be enough to complete the move back up towards 154. For those of you, I would probably count myself among among the numbers as well. Those I am moderately bullish Pound Aussie. I think from a fundamental standpoint, the Bank of England is going to ease more, I think, eventually. But I think the risk of additional rate cuts from the RBA stand as a greater threat going forward. Key language from the RBA rate cut said that they were using some of their scope for easing at this meeting, clearly suggesting that they have room to cut further should they desire to do so. We may see another rate cut as soon as next month, depending on how some of this data plays out. And if that is the case, and if pound Aussie continues to rally, this is your long setup. You want to see a strong move here above this trend line, and then you want to take the retest around 154, basically 153.90, depending on how long it takes to retest. Should that be the case, I would expect the pair to rally towards 157, if not beyond. So that is the long setup. If you wait through all this data and we do get disappointing Aussie data and bullish pound data, and the pair does break out, you can look to take a retest off this trend line for a nice solid 300 to 400 pip move towards 157 to 158. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on here. I will likely not be trading pound Aussie until after we get through at least the Aussie and Chinese data tonight. And most likely not until after we see what the Bank of England has to do. But I will be watching this pair very carefully for either setup, short off that trend line or Fibonacci resistance, or a breakout long trade to the upside. So I hope that's helpful. As always, if you have questions, please head on over to GlobalFxClub.com. We'll be happy to talk to you there. Good luck trading for the rest of this week. It should be a very interesting finish. I will talk to you guys soon.